This is Doug Payne, and I'm here today. We're heading out on cross country with Crown Talisman again, and this is at the Saumur CCI 3-star. We were very, very lucky to have received a grant from Land Rover and the USEF to head over to France here to compete. We were here actually just a few days prior. We arrived the Friday before. We were at a sort of just a farm to get acclimatized until the showgrounds were open on the Monday. We're here on Monday, and this will be the following Saturday. So, quick introduction to France for sure. Luckily for us, the ground here, it's a very sandy base. We've had a ton of rain. Probably about the Tuesday before was just a complete washout, and we'd had intermittent rain throughout the day or the days leading up to this, and actually on to Saturday as well. So there's a bunch of spots here, and you'll see it. I'll make note of it that start to get pretty wet, and I went probably 80% through the division, so it had a fair number of horses that had run through the track before. We're heading up now. This is fence 3, decent sized jump, brush on either side. And I'm looking to jump off to the left here, and to tell you the truth, we went a little further left than I expected, and we ended up in the high brush, and the more dense brush that they used here doesn't really move all that much, so my leg got knocked out from underneath me. This is the first influential combination on the course. As you can see, there's next to no approach to the first element. And to be honest, I got there a little bit tight. He was slow to recognize where we were and really what was being asked. But he handled it really well. And as you can see, his ears are pricked and certainly no worse for the wear. I'm actually ducking down here. There was a billet of my girth that had come undone and started knocking against my right foot. And I was just making sure that the girth itself wasn't about to fall off, because that would not be such a good thing, only a minute or two in the course. Heading up here, we got really quite a big fence that had water running on top of it, or in it, that is. He obviously has no trouble whatsoever with this. And as you can see here, the sandy portion where there's no grass is quite a bit deeper than the grassy portion. So although the galloping lanes are not terribly wide, I really am going to do my best throughout the entire round to stay on what is more grass than straight sand, again, and just conserving energy. The optimum time on this course was 10:27, so longer than anything he had done before, and so we weren't 100% sure exactly how he'd handle everything, but in the end, he was excellent. Now this is a massive ditch and brush fence. I gave him a little tap on the takeoff there, again, just to make sure that we get it done. The galloping lane again starts to get narrow here. This again is another pretty tricky combination that caused some trouble through the day. It's going to be a table, right-handed turn to a skinny barrel, and then sort of straight ahead in the line that I'm taking to another skinny barrel. There's a few other iterations that you could do as far as options, but you'll see I'm aiming for the inflatable thing straight ahead of us, then looking to the second element, and the third sort of lines itself up. He's very unique, Tali is, in that he's absolutely genuine. So the nice thing is that if I can show him more or less where we're headed, he's generally game on for it. And that obviously pays off in combinations like that. We would have been pretty lucky in that just before heading out, before flying out, I actually watched a video from this competition in years past and saw some trickier stuff like that. So we actually set some combinations and exercises up in the arena to do our best to mimic what we'd see here over the weekend. This again is a pretty good sized table with a drop on the back side of it. And so actually he really did jump it quite big. I ended up slipping my reins, but there's plenty of time on the backside, so it just didn't much matter here. Coming up here is a very, very tricky corner straight to a skinny narrow vertical. So I actually wanted to get the turn done by the time you could see it and clip my left foot on that post. And that really put us up on the line. I was probably a hair left of where I wanted to be ideally, which made it a slight bow there. I was really intending to have that dead straight, but it's a hair off of it. But again, he's so genuine. This water was pretty deep, and we have, as you can see, a triple brush. Jumped it huge, landed a little bit in the heat, but was really, really genuine. And you can see he's absolutely no worse for the wear, ears pricked and ready to go for the next one. Coming up here, we've got a roll top, and it's 3 strides to a sort of real skinny thing. Lucky enough, we had this exact combination at Jersey in the CIC 3-star a few weeks prior, so I was very confident that jumping into that, he'd respond respond really well. We've got a good galloping section here, and he felt great, so I started to actually pick up the pace. In hindsight, in the very end, he felt great at the end. I ended up with 6.8 time penalties, which and took us down a couple places. And I think, sort of knowing where he really is, having finished his competition, I probably could have pushed him on here even a touch more. But as you could see, we're just searching for good ground, using the entire width of the galloping lane whenever at all possible. Took the inside line here, going to go along, as you can see, actually it was a little distracting. Somebody was trying to take a picture in the back there, and you see the flash pop into your eyes. But again, just sort of economy in energy, trying to just do what's best to see if we can't conserve as much energy as we can. Heading down here, we've got a turning combination, decent sized roll top tables, both of them, on a bending line. The first one has, I would say it's a fair drop. I'm 6'3", and if I'm standing at the back of it, maybe it was to my nose level. And so terrain certainly plays a role, and it's always so difficult in videos to really convey how steep this stuff is. As you can see, all the mud splattered up against the front of the fence. You can see with these narrow fences, it is a challenge because wherever the horses are jumping, we're probably, I don't know, 60 horses into this competition. So you've had 60 combinations run through and jump out of the same maybe 1 meter diameter of ground. So it gets kind of chewed up there. So you can see, still searching around for the best ground that we can find. Coming up, this is probably the most wet section of the course. We've got a mound jump here. I did a very, sort of slight angle here. He's very, very good with turning. So on the back side, that was actually another jump on a separate course. So we just went to the inside of it, again, just to save a little ground. You can see standing water still from the couple days prior. This whole section was pretty wet, so I wasn't going to go crazy fast by any way, shape, or form, just trying to let him figure out where his legs go best. We've got a table, it's part of a boat, and he actually sort of laid all over that first one, but we actually got a good distance coming out, gave him a little smack there, and this is an absolutely good-sized ditch and brush coming off. He responded really, really well, because hanging up over that first element, oftentimes horses will get backed off or a little cautious because of that experience, and luckily he really could care less. He's just, I can't say enough about how genuine of a horse he really is. You can see this is still quite muddy. We've got a fence here that I did quite an angle because he's just really good about it. But you can see actually everybody else's tracks sort of actually squared that turn off a bit more. And in most cases, most horses, I wouldn't risk the angle that we took there, but he's so genuine. Again, if you see it, as long as he sees it, he really does lock on well. Again, searching for good ground on the inside here. If you watch the roping sort of 3/4 of the way through this turn, you'll see the rope flip, and it's actually my stirrup caught one of the posts. So it's just a hair probably closer than it needed to be, but again, it's all in trying to look out for him and make sure that he's not expending energy that doesn't need to. Coming up here was absolutely the hairiest moment of this course. It's a massive table. It was either 3 or 4 strides to a corner. And I went to go steady for this, and I'll tell you, just about now he drops to a trot. And trotting, probably about the biggest fence on the course, is really not the ideal situation, but again, it's a testament to how genuine, how good of a horse he is. Trots over that, which is, again, it's a max table, and landed and kicked on down to 4 strides then to that corner with no issues whatsoever. Coming up here, we've got another galloping fence, and being that we had a little sticky go at that last combination, and knowing what's ahead, I'm going to really get a good gallop out of this and actually give him a little tap on takeoff. Again, to just reestablish that you want him really confidently forward, and you saw actually his one ear flick back. He's actually feeling great now. Coming out over that white angled fence, I was probably about 25 seconds down on the clock, and by the time we reach around the corner to the right here, I was just about onto the pace that we needed. We've got a triple brush down a very, very steep slope, right-handed turn. It's a bounce up, and then either 3 or 4 strides to a skinny brush and hanging a hard left afterwards. So again, good size brush here, just sitting back and kind of let him. That hill is so incredibly steep, it's really hard to tell here. Got a great shot at the bank. He bounced up I mean, just perfect. I really could not have asked for anything better there, and just tried to stay back. We ended up putting the 4 strides in there. Again, it's sort of halfway between 3 and 4, and if you had gone for the 3, it would have kicked you way out in that turn. And again, just in an effort to save time and save space, we went for the 4 to make the harder turn. Got a good gallop here, and this is 6 strides down through the water, and this is a bounce into another pond of water. Again, no worse for the wearer. He was excellent here, handled almost all this stuff really foot perfect. Got a jump here, and we just have 2 remaining. This again would have been the longest course that I had run with him, and every time you're going out, you're learning something new, and I was really incredibly pleased with how well he came in. Finished up really strong, and he recovered incredibly quickly in the 10-minute box after here. So this is our last jump and finish up. He gets a big pat. Come around the corner, you'll see Michelle meet us there and start the process of cooling him off. So hope you enjoyed the ride. When you get a chance, click on over to dpequestrian.com. We just have a book that just came out, and has sort of details everything from starting from scratch to dealing with any sort of abnormal problems that you might run into while riding. So hope you enjoy, and we'll again see you soon.